Hello, welcome to WUSTL's Weekly Wagers. I really need an intro for this. Alright, the first game is Bills at Patriots. The Bills are 12.5-point underdogs, and I love the Bills. If there's one thing anybody knows about me, it's I love the Buffalo Bills. Why? Well, for one, this game features one of my favorite betting situations. A large underdog, particularly of more than 10. And this is obviously 12.5 is more than 10. Welcome to the math lesson today. The reason I like this situation so much is because of the way NFL teams operate in real life. In Vegas, a lot of times these point spreads, they pretend like they're an actual representation of how much better one team is than another team. So you say Patriots are 12.5 favorites over the Bills, then the Patriots should win by 12.5 points over the Bills at home. But that's not really how NFL teams actually operate, because the Patriots don't care about beating the Bills by 12.5 points or more than 12.5 points. They care about beating the Bills by 1 point, by 3 points, by 30 points. They don't care. They just want to win the game. And so a lot of times you get into these backdoor cover situations where Patriots are up by 17, they've won the game, 2 minutes left, the Bills have the ball. The Patriots just want to get out of there. So they play prevent defense, let the Bills drive down the field, run out the clock, score a touchdown with 1 second left, and then the Patriots end up winning by 10. But when it comes to Vegas, that situation matters a whole lot, because if you're betting on the Patriots, you want the Patriots to play as hard as they can to protect that 17-point lead. So when you're gambling on sports, you want the team to be playing for you. You want the team you're betting on to be playing for you. But in these large spread situations, a lot of times the favorite isn't always playing for their bettors. They're playing for themselves for the win. And so that kind of gives an extra little boost to these underdogs. The other reason I love the Bills is because they're really underrated. Specifically, they're really underrated with Josh Allen at QB. Now, I'm one of the Josh Allen haters. I do not think he's a very good QB prospect coming out. Nothing in the NFL has shown any different. He's like a little bit taller than Mahomes, but he's not as accurate, and he doesn't have quite the QB smarts that Mahomes does. So I'm confused on why exactly the Bills wanted to draft him instead of Mahomes. But regardless, he's still really athletic. He still has a big arm. He can still make plays. And that's enough to put some points on the board occasionally, which is all the Bills need because they have an awesome defense. They have maybe the best defense in the NFL. But the reason people think they're so bad is because of their terrible QBs they've been starting, other than Josh Allen. Most notably, Derek Anderson and Nathan Peterman. The last time Derek Anderson was good was 2007. It's 2018 now. He hasn't been good for 10 years. He's over the hill, and he wasn't even that good to begin with. So obviously he's terrible. And Nathan Peterman, he's the worst QB in NFL history. He threw 3 interceptions in a game and raised his interception percentage. That is unbelievable. So not only did Nathan Peterman lose his 2 starts, he also lost a 3rd game in which Josh Allen had the lead over the Houston Texans, but Nathan Peterman came in and threw 2 interceptions, including one that was returned for a touchdown, and lost the game. So really, that's 5 games where these 2 terrible QBs completely destroyed the Bills' chances of winning. And that had a huge impact on how people view the Bills, because they're a small market team, nobody really pays attention to them, and when they're bad, there's no reason to really talk about them. But hidden in this is the fact that with Josh Allen at QB, the Bills are actually not too bad. They're pretty decent. Josh Allen is 4-5. 4-5 as a starter. And one of those losses includes that loss that Nathan Peterman came in and ruined the game for him. If Josh Allen had played that entire game, he would have a winning record in the NFL. And yet Vegas treats them like they're complete garbage, which is ridiculous. They're not good, but they're not garbage. They're not the Raiders. They're not the Cardinals. They're pretty decent. They can go in and beat good teams, and they can certainly go in and cover big spreads. The other side of the coin is that the Patriots are unbelievably overrated. The Patriots right now are a good but not great team. They're not as good as the Chiefs, they're not as good as the Chargers, they're not as good as the Saints, they're not as good as the Rams, They're not even as good as the Bears. They obviously have a winning record, and rightfully so. They can beat good teams. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Bears. But they're 9-5, and that record accurately represents what they are. The problem with the Patriots is that they've been so good for so long, and people have been saying they're on their last legs for several years, and every time they've been proven wrong. So now people are scared to say that they're bad. They're scared to say, oh, the Patriots might not be as good as they once were. And so this creates some value with them betting against them. To put it into perspective, they have 5 losses, which is more losses than they've had in an entire season since 2009. And now is the season Brady was coming back from his ACL injury. They also lost 5 games with Matt Castle. But before that, Brady hadn't lost 5 games in a season since 2005. That means from 2006 to 2017, the only way Brady would lose 5 games as a starter is if he was coming off an ACL tear injury. That is unbelievable. And people still think the Patriots are that consistent today, but they're not, because Brady is 41 years old. And as much as Patriots fans don't want to believe it, as much as the national media doesn't want to believe it, Tom Brady is human. He ages just like everybody else. Father Time is undefeated, and he's finally starting to show his age. He's not terrible, but he's not as good as he once was. Those 3 factors, the large spread, the Bills being underrated, and the Patriots being overrated, is why this is one of my favorite games since I started this article, video, something, whatever, majigger. But the other thing to keep in mind that makes me more confident is the previous Patriots-Bills game, which, given that it was on national TV, it seems like people have suddenly just forgotten that it happened. The Patriots struggled against the Bills defense. The Patriots ended up scoring 25 points, which is pretty good, but 7 of those came on a pick 6, and again, remember, Josh Allen was not the QB in that game, and another 3 came off another interception that gave the Patriots the ball within the Bills' 30-yard line. Without those 2 turnovers, the Patriots only managed to score 15 points on offense against the Bills last time around. Now, that one was in Buffalo, while this one is in New England, but it goes to show that the Patriots probably aren't just going to go in there and roll over the Bills. The Patriots will probably score more than 15 points on offense, but it's possible they only score 21, 24, something around that area. And if the Bills can manage to scratch together 17 points, that's an easy cover, and that's why I absolutely love this game. The second game is Ravens +4 at Los Angeles Chargers. Now, this game I'm not so passionate about as the last one, because I do think this spread actually underrates the Chargers in a way. That because Vegas typically gives 3 points for home field advantage, that means they're saying the Chargers are only 1.5 points better than the Ravens, which I don't think that's true. I think the Chargers are much, much better than the Ravens. But I think where this spread comes in, where the value comes in on this spread, is the unique way that the Ravens play football. Because with Lamar Jackson, their offense is so unique that it sort of levels the playing field for opposing defenses. Most defenses in the modern NFL are designed to rush the passer and provide good coverage to prevent passing attacks. But with Lamar Jackson, that's not really their game. They have him escape the pocket, QB draws, all sorts of crazy stuff. Since defenses aren't designed to stop this in the NFL, having a good NFL defense doesn't really help you that much here. You just need a certain skill set, and it doesn't really correlate to a good defense overall. And so this allows the Ravens to be extremely consistent in what they're able to score on offense. Doesn't matter if they're playing the Raiders or the Bears, they're able to score a consistent amount of points. Now, it's not a ton of points. They're not putting up 30 points a game on offense, but they're able to consistently put up 20 to 24 points a game. And if you went back and looked at all their scores, yeah, sometimes they'd score more than that. But that's usually because of defensive touchdowns or special teams touchdowns or what have you. But for the Ravens, they're consistently 20 to 24 points. The Chargers, on the other hand, while they do have a good offense, they average 28 points per game. You would think that against the Ravens, they're going to score a little bit less than this. And there's 2 factors why, which we should have learned when they played the Chiefs when I incorrectly bet on the Chiefs. One is that the Ravens have such a ball control offense that they have long, slow drives that burn the clock, that they just limit the number of possessions the other team has, which limits how often they can score. The other factor is obviously the Ravens' good defense. When you play a good defense, you're not going to score as much. That's pretty obvious. So this game is pretty much just simple math. The Ravens are going to score 20 to 24 points, while the Chargers might score 24 to 28 points. So I have a good feeling that in this game, the Chargers will probably win, but the Ravens will keep the game close. It'll be something like 21-24, 24-28, something like that, right on that 3 to 4 point margin. And so the reason I'm betting this game is really because of that half point, that 4.5. As long as it's within that 4 points, which I think it will be, we'll cover the spread. And the additional factor is this is really a best case scenario for the Chargers. In reality, I think if turnovers start playing a factor, if special teams touchdowns come into play, the Ravens are much more likely to score those types of touchdowns than the Chargers are. So in terms of looking at sort of the randomness in this game, the randomness will tend to favor the Ravens. The third game is the Bears minus 210 money line to win straight up against the 49ers in San Francisco. Now, if you've read my articles, I typically bet underdogs the money line because I like to bet those 50-50 games and get the extra points on it. The reason I'm betting this money line is because of that 4.5 point spread, which, like in the last game where I like it for the underdog, a lot of NFL games finished with a 3-point margin and a 4-point margin. Not a whole lot finished with a 5-point margin. So basically, if you're betting the Bears on the point spread here, you're saying they're going to win by 6 or 7 points, or essentially a touchdown, which, even though the Bears are a lot better than the 49ers, it's still a tough thing to do on the road in the NFL. On the other hand, I still like the Bears to win. I would be shocked if they lost to the 49ers, even though they're on the road. And the simple reason is that they're a lot better than the 49ers. It's really that simple sometimes. The Bears are one of the top 5 teams in the NFL, I believe. And the 49ers, on the other hand, are not so good. They're one of those bottom 5 teams, maybe a little bit better, but not by much. If you look at the implied probability of this game at negative 210, that comes out to 67.7% chance of the Bears winning. Over a 16-game season, that would be roughly 10.7 wins, so 10 or 11 wins. So they're saying if the Bears played at San Francisco 16 times, they would have a season record of 10-6 or 11-5. To me, the gap between the Bears and the 49ers seems a lot bigger than that. So I like the Bears to win, but maybe not be able to cover the spread.